Okay. So right now this shit goes. So here is essentially everything that I did. So first things first, let's bypass everything so you hear what it was before, and then we'll slowly work our way back to after. I will say this, dude. Your recording, the way you've been recording, has been a lot better. Your vocals sound a lot more clear. You're coming through a lot more. It seems like you're actually speaking into the mic, more centered out. So it's not really getting too like muddy, which makes everything a lot easier. All right. So first things first, we're gonna go with just the beat itself. Now, this was a YouTube beat, right? If you can, try to purchase the wave or purchase the stems. The stems is always going to be your best bet, because then what I can do is all these extra sounds that are on there, I can actually manipulate the hi-hats, manipulate the pads, because it is very high and mid-heavy, which is right where your vocals are at. So first thing I did right here was I threw in an additional mixer to kind of bring it out, because I felt like the beat itself was a little thin. It didn't really have a lot of oomph to it. And then I cut out the mid part, because this is where your vocals are at. And this shit was fighting with your voice all the time. Alright, so once I got that down, basically what I did, I monoed all of your vocals, and I made 2 of each one. That allows me to manipulate one end and keep the other one kind of to itself. So we're not gonna. And then I gain stage, drop down the vocals, because the one thing I want to see more than anything when I'm actually doing your music is I want this to not clip. I want to make sure that the whole song itself isn't going to cause any clipping on it at all. That allows me to kind of manipulate the vocals from there on, and I can add some more. As long as I'm not clipping, it always allows some overhead. That overhead is going to be crucial when you go to the mastering process. Once you actually finish all of your vocals, once you finish all of your songs and everything like that, you want to keep a little bit of overhead, because you're going to rethrow a secondary master on them, and that's going to bump them all up to CD quality, standard quality, and everything like that. So you always want to leave some overhead. So gain staging, everything like that. First thing I did was I focused on your hook. Alright, so I'm going to show you how I basically did. I looped the hook. Now, one is your ad-libs, the other one's the actual hook. On the main hook, I threw this on. It's a stereo enhancer from Pro Q2. What it basically does is just gives them more oomph to the vocals. Actually, no, I didn't do that first. What I actually did was, all your vocals are pretty much the same. So the first thing I did was I cleaned them all up. This is my vocal chain. A vocal chain is basically everything I'm doing for your vocals at the time I'm doing it. The way I normally like doing my vocal setups, it's EQ, compression, EQ. This is my first EQ. It's a SSL from UAD. That gives you the clarity. With it, without it. Okay? So I like the way it sounds. Okay. Then after that, I threw in a compressor. The compression gives a little bit more oomph, it lifts up the lower parts of your voice to match the higher parts of your voice. That's what compression essentially does.
Saturday, feeling super great.
And this one actually has a gate, so it cuts off the breath.
Shall we play? Have you wait?
Okay. Now, after that, I threw in a tertiary EQ. This is for brightness, clarity. It's a lot more emphasis on the high mids, and still cutting off a little bit of the highs, so I don't have a lot of hissing. It's basically works as a de-esser as well. So
Saturday,
before,
feeling super great, hanging with my people,
after.
and they staying late. Shall we play? Have you wait? Let me get this straight.
With the
We've been
beat.
looking forward to this night like all day. Hey, Saturday.
Alright.
Super great. Hanging with my people and you know this.
Here's your high mids. I cut down a little bit at the clarity if I take it off.
With
it. Got it. But I still have this one right here that's again pushing it up as well too. I left the low pretty much the same. I didn't really need to do too much. Because this one right here is cutting your lows. That's a high pass. So it's cutting out all your low ends right there. Okay. So that is your vocal chain. That is where, if we go to your verse, if we go to the actual verse, even the verse has the same effects. This keeps your vocals all the same. Okay, the only thing that's different is the way you recorded all your separate dubs and things like that, which allows your character of your voice to stand out, and it's not a lot of like mechanical flash.
Saturday night.
The next thing I did on your, let's go back to, we should loop up the hook again. The next thing I did
Saturday
was
super great. Hanging with my people when you know they staying
on the back end of your choruses. I had an exciter on one of them. These are on the lower ends. What that's gonna do is basically boost up the high ends, and then I throw on a chorus to really get that nice chorus sound. And then on the main vocals, I put the subtle stereo enhancer. This again boosts everything up for you. Here's my reverb from Nomad. You can find a cheap crack for it. I think I might even have some too. Again, adds the oomph. Same thing on this one. So it's two separate reverbs just to really get some more air into it. And then I threw a dynamic delay, echo. And a lot of the reverbs and echoes you probably won't hear, but what it does for the listener is it adds this depth. It makes it sound deeper, fuller. Take out the vocals and
Saturday, feeling super great. Hanging with my people and
you know they stay a little bit of the echo right there. But you can for sure hear the reverb when I cut off the beat. Once you add the beat on there, it kind of tends to go a little bit away, but it still allows the majority of it to still pop through and allows the effect that what you're really looking for is depth. All right, now going into your vocals. The vocals was the fun part on this one, just because, dude, you was right in the pocket perfectly. The beat is solid, is right up your BPM. So first thing I did was, again, like I said, I already had your vocal chain set up. So the next step was stereo enhancer. On the secondary one, add a little bit more of the warmth. Here's where your, so the high end right here will give the sibilance, the but this right here will give it body. Here on the lower mids, what it's gonna create is gonna create your voice to sound a little bit more not say deeper, but it's gonna have more attack to it. It's gonna sound a little bit more full. It means business. And the reason why I focused on this one on the verse is because your verse and your hook are very similar, but the listener, even though they're not gonna be able to tell, they're gonna notice that there's something different, and you want to kind of leave the little small nuances so that it's like, oh yeah, like this is a verse, this is a hook. So
Saturday night,
now that sounded cool, but for the main vocal I still needed some more. It wasn't perfect for me, so what I did was I got this Isotope Nectar. It's essentially an all-in-one vocal chain. First thing I did was I dropped again the lower mids of the EQ.
Saturday night, chilling, just feeling so right.
Then I threw a compressor to make it cut a little bit more, and a small delay. Again, this delay right here, you're not really going to be able to tell. It was more just for depth.
Anyone? No?
All right. right? So,
Then let me pick the place.
but I still wanted like certain echoes in certain parts of the song. So what I ended up doing was, like, you probably heard it right there on the anyone. After I put the little drop,
Somebody decide.
right,
Anyone? Anyone?
on the lower part of it, this secondary vocal, I set it up. All I did was just do this. I'll show you. I grabbed it and I copy pasted it, which for Pro Tools, if you ever get it, it's a Command D. It would duplicate it, and boom, put it right over. And the first thing I did before I even started anything was I set up the BPM. It's 80 BPM. I just counted. I tapped it out. And that allows me to make any changes, and I already know they're going to be on beat. I don't even have to really think about it. So, check it out.
Anyone? Anyone? No? No? Then let's...
So, that's just, echo without really having to do the real echo aspect of it. And I did a lot of that throughout the song, just kind of...
Danny, come on. Danny, come on. Pick up the pace.
But it's not on the main vocal, so it's not so in your face. It kind of sounds like in the background.
And then you know I pick McDonald's.
Right there, I did a low pitch. That way, just to kind of, to play off the Pick McDonald's, I wanted to kind of tweak it out a little bit more. So,
Pick McDonald's.
So after I did a duplicate, I went here to my my pitches, and I actually manipulated the actual wave. I dropped it to here, and anytime you go down, you want your cents to be -12 or +12 cents. That will keep it on the key that you're moving it. So if you're going down, if you're down pitching, but -12 cents. If you're up pitching, put it +12 cents, and that'll keep at least your voice on key with where you were at.
That's my favorite spot. Gorilla. Where are we going? I don't know. What are we doing? I don't know. Where are we going? I don't know.
I like that part. You didn't even hear it unless you wear headphones, and that's the thing. I think a lot of people don't do anymore. You should do some things for people who wear headphones, because, you know what I mean? Like, why wouldn't you? And like this little trick right here, if you hear the,
I don't know.
I just basically just tweaked the little vocals on the echo and shit like that, so it made it a little bit fun.
I don't know. Where are we going? I don't know.
It's not. It's for no one but for you.
Saturday, feeling super great.
Hook, you already know that's good.
Shall we play?
On the beginning of your verse right here, the first part was a little bit loud, so all I did was put some automation. I dropped down the volume a little bit so it kind of bleed into it.
Like all day, hey, I'm sitting and kicking it back. I'm thinking of that. Only when you got your friends on.
And then right here, here's a car passing sound. What I did is I put a pan on it, so it makes the car sound like it's going from your left ear to your right ear, like most cars do if you're driving and shit. So real, just small, quick little fix. Again, echoes. On this part, I had fun with it. So I like the way you did the breakdown, but again, you're doing it for the listener. So the listeners already heard the beat, they've already heard the drops, they've already heard your flow. So you kind of want to put like different things. And the way you were when you started hitting this spot right here, what I did was I threw a low pass on this part of it. So I highlighted what I needed to do. Audio Suite, EQ, 7-band. This is the one that comes standard with Pro Tools. Anywhere will have it. Most of them will have a special effects outside the club, or it's called the low pass preset, which what it does, if you can see here, it just cuts out the highs, but it boosts up the low and the low mids. And what it does, it creates this outside the club sound. So, but for you, what it ended up doing was it put a lot of emphasis in your following words. So after that car passing line,
no fear in us, the night just began. See, times like these make you forget all of your worries.
Because that shit has such a solid fucking little flow. And then again, I threw little echoes on there. And then right back. Boom. And like that's really it. I mean, it's a very happy song. It's very chill. I mean, you're right at the 3 minute mark. So I mean, it's not crazy long to where you're gonna get bored of it. But it's not so short that it's gonna fucking go in one ear and out the other. You have intro, verse, half a verse. This I think you can essentially call it like a bridge, but not really. So that's the song. The song was good. Now, after everything, you always want to throw a master so that you can glue the whole sound together. So this is my go-to baby right here. It's a Pull C Tech. It's an equalizer, but it also has an in and out, so it also works as a bit of a compressor. So without it,
No fear in us.
With it.
The night just began. See times like these. Shall we play? Have you wait?
Without it.
Let me get this straight.
With
We've
it.
been looking forward to this night like all day.
and that's really what you're looking for. You want everything to boost together without it sounding too muddy, fat, disgusting.
Shall we play? Have you wait?
And
Let me
remember
get
what
this
I
straight.
said,
We've been
overhead.
Looking forward to this night like all day.
Right
Hey,
under
say,
the
give
zero,
it back. I'm thinking
no
of
red.
that. Only when
I
you
mean,
got
zero
your friends
clipping.
all in
That's
the
what we
car
want.
with the full tank.
And yeah, man, that is your song, my breakdown. Let me know if there's anything more I should do, anything I should really get into. I'm just kind of going a brief rundown on the majority of it and stuff like that. And yeah, be sure to post up a review for your boy. And remember, it's $50 for most people. If you don't care about this aspect of it, like the learning, it's only $30 for the mix. So you're basically paying $20 for a video explaining what to do. All right, and yeah, bro, there we go. Gracias.